Yeah, I don't have a definition about myself, but it's just a way to say that I came into the production of documentaries not because it was something that I wanted to do when I was young or was a simple goal of my life, but simply because I came by chance after a different careers. I started many years ago working as a DJ in a radio, then I worked as a writer and producer in television, a public channel of Italian television. And then I started to do documentary, and actually I'm doing also something that is connected much more to the video marketplace. So basically I define myself as someone who is using videos to create communication. I like to communicate, I like to transfer message that I've seen in the society into the community, so basically this is what I'm doing. Yeah, this is a transition that, as many transition in my life, came real natural. Was something that I never considered before. Actually, I underestimate a lot the potential of social media until some years ago. The trigger was when I support and promote a young black Italian kid to promote and to publish his first book. Now this Italian kid, his name is Antonio Di Chele Di Stefano, is becoming a huge producer. Actually, he's the writer for the upcoming series of Netflix Italy called Zero, based on his book, and so it's a young talent, a black Italian guy that is doing a lot. And watching, observing him, for me was very important because I understood how social media are really important. And following also other documentarians in America, I learned how you can consider to use, for example, social media like Facebook, YouTube and Instagram as a tool and a platform to launch your documentary or your concept, your video, your base. So this transition became much more natural, and now I'm of course doing a sort of test of how I can tell much more stories, or I can promote a feature documentary starting from a web doc based concept documentary like Black Italiano. This is for me the most challenge that I have in this time. Challenges are different when are production challenges, like I need to shoot with the camera horizontal, I need to shoot vertical, I need to, how I have to edit horizontal, vertical, squared, the time of my clips, how long now they have to be. I need to do some clips very short, like 2-3 minutes, 1 minute for Instagram. Where is the main platform? If I use 3 platforms like YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, how I can order or give a priority to this platform for my kind of project. Is much more important to have more visibility on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, where I can put my trailer, etc, etc, etc. So there are a lot of interesting tasks and challenges that I'm bringing into this production of Black Italiano. Oh yeah, it's but basically for me are always the same time. It's the beginning, but the real beginning when you have the brainstorming that something is happening in your mind and you are finding inspiration, and the time that you are watching the final cut of an episode. So of course all the process, that is a huge process, long, with a lot of discipline, efforts, and we are talking about the pre-production, production, post-production project. I mean, it's nice, but it's not so exciting when you have you start to do a brainstorming, and when you see the final cut, so it's I think it's like when you have a kids and then you see that your kids is raising and you reach the degrees or so of course the work that you've done in the middle is the most important stuff, but maybe is the less exciting for me.
Are there any parts that tend to get frustrating in that middle part?
No, it's just because the middle part, I think, is like every passion that you have, every work that you have, is sometimes, I don't want to say the less creative part, but is the part in which you have to develop skills like problem solving, is the part in which you have to be continuous, so have a continuity of your work, you have to be meticulous, sometimes of course you have many things that are discourage your work or that are putting you down for a while. And this is the 90% of the job, of course. But the other 1% is more exciting, is more creative, and is something that sometimes make a change, because of course when you have an idea of something that no one has an idea is important, but at the same time going back to the final cut of a project, so when it's ready to be screened and whatever, the way how you package your work, the way how you editing, it's very important because it can again make a difference, or it can solve something that you make wrong in the production, in the shooting, or maybe you change idea or something change also in the lives of the people that you interview. So even you have a great footage, maybe this story is not 100% the same story of 3 years before or 2 years before, and so the editing is very important. Actually, I'm not, as I said before, being not only, and I don't define myself filmmaker, but the reason is because I never studied production or video production, and also I never spent my entire free time watching films or whatever. I love films like everyone, but it's not something that is indispensable for my life. Even I'm not producing, going to see films or talking about films every hour, or this passion for me, for example, was much more the music when I was young. So music was a real passion that for a while was also a part of my profession, but that doesn't mean that I don't like films, but it means that I'm not so fanatic. So sometimes this could be something that is helpful, because before this is I think is something that is helpful for every kind of work in which you have an artistic or creative way. It's great to be inspired by people who are doing your same art or your same work, but sometimes it's useful to have inspiration by elsewhere. So not necessarily a musician needs to be inspired by other musicians to play or doing a song. You can find inspiration from other artists or other people, or people who are not artists. So my main inspiration are stories, are the stories of the people. They could be pictures, they could be academic essays. I came from a background of political science. I studied sociology, so I have a lot of interest in reading essay, journal articles. So not necessarily filmmaking or other filmmakers inspire me in my work as a documentarian. Even I appreciate a lot of great documentarians, filmmakers. I have friends. But sometimes I'm lucky, and I consider myself lucky to don't need to follow what the others are doing. I like much more following what the other are doing, or the other filmmakers are doing, in terms which kind of platform or distribution they are working right now, or which are the models, how you can package your work. So this part for me is very important, but I'm very free to don't have strong influence in my stories only by filmmakers. So my influencers are often sometimes book writers, and then I like to mix, so I like to put stuff that I consider that are in commercial video, like music video. So in Black Italiano I try to mix something that is much more a sort of music video or a sort of blog of YouTube with as a style of shooting with stories that are stories much more connected to the documentary world, and with a lot of music. So I try also to bring music as a great element of my current work. Yeah, now when I started, actually I started with a really low budget work, and was very difficult for me because I didn't know many stuff, and we made a lot of mistake. I worked with operator, and but this, the thing is that the most important lesson that I received was that it's very important to don't waste time and don't wait a lot a green light from somebody or somewhere to start a project, but it's necessary that you can start as soon as you can, even you don't have a lot of budget, with also small equipment or whatever. Of course, this was an advice that usually I give much more to Italians, people who want to do some work, because in Italy it's real. Also how people study film is different. So they study more theory, but they don't study, or they don't have a lot of equipment to do practically immediately stuff or a project or whatever. So it's very important to take confidence as quick as possible with the camera, with the equipment, even if you have a low budget equipment or a cell phone or whatever, because more you practice, more really you are able to find a personal style, and then you can direct also other people. So I understood that this is very important, and it's very important to know how you can direct yourself before how you can direct other people. So if you never experience how you can manage your own potential, it's very difficult to think to manage the potential of other people, even if you are a small crew of 2-3 people. My philosophy of work until right now is to use documentary, is to use a video as a tool. For me, it's the only tool that I know, or I can in this moment manage to communicate something. Many years ago was the radio, but the radio, I was a DJ in a radio. Of course, I produce stuff that were commercial and show that were normal show, were not activist show or whatever. Now video, I think, that give you much more opportunity to express much more your artistic talent, because in video I can put everything. I can put music, I can put faces, I can put stories. So for me, faces, diversity is very important. It's very difficult to express or visualize diversity in a radio show. We are talking about voices, so we don't see nothing. It's very different when you can see things, and so for me it's much more, as a philosophy, interesting working for video. And as a philosophy, of course, one of my, I think, content that I have in the past, I got in the past, but I will have in the future, by the way, is talking about diversity, and for me diversity is very important, and sometimes is also a chance to talk about what we call the other.